point out that the sun shines down its power to all the world and makes the wind blow strong as it will. I wonder how gentle rains can fall upon the land, so lovely earth can stay lovely still. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 650th edition of Energy Week with me, George Harvey, and her, Nancy Wolf. The incredible Nancy Wolf. Sounds like I'm introducing a superhero, doesn't it? Actually, maybe I am.
I'll take the super.
Okay. So this is news aggregation of news about energy and climate change that has been done over the past week. What did we start? We started on for this show on November 13th, and the news goes up to November 19th. It's all to be found on my blog, geoharvey.com, geoharvey.com. But somewhere on your computer screen, whatever, maybe, there's a thing that you can scroll to, which is a tiny URL a site, which is called Energy Week 650. And if you go there, you'll find the stuff for Energy Week that we actually use. My blog has 15 items a day. Here we use 3. We could do 15 and make the whole thing 5 hours long.
That's true. We could have a 5-hour-long show. I don't know when I would sleep, but that's...
I don't know. This show literally takes me about 40 hours a week to do, because I spend about 5 hours every day doing the blog that I use for, and then I prepare for and go through the show and walk home and stuff. So there it is. Anyway, we're starting, as I said, on November 13th. I guess we might as well just start. We have a picture of Samoa.
Yeah, that we do. This is from Down to Earth.
Yes.
How Pacific nations plan to go from spending up to 25% of GDP on fossil fuels to using 100% renewables.
Just think of what that would do to the economy. These people have been impoverished and now they're just poor, having done that. But it makes a huge difference. For decades, highly exposed Pacific Island countries have led the global fight for climate change. Now they're leading the way again. Their plan is to be the world's first region, a bunch of countries, powered 100% by renewables and energy storage. The first country to be powered 100% by solar, what was it?
I was in Eastern Europe.
No. I happen to know.
Yeah, tell me what.
It was in the Pacific. It was an island called Tokelau.
That makes sense. And they're sinking. That one is...
It probably is sinking, but they're powered 100% by solar with batteries. They do have a diesel generator that they can use if things go squirrely. But
it's good to have a backup plan.
Yeah. I mean, they don't run the diesel generation.
No, it's a backup plan. It's important to have a backup plan.
They get the diesel oil from, I don't know, coconuts? It's renewable diesel oil that's produced on the island.
Okay, great. This is some good stuff.
And it's been around for a long time. But anyway, there it is.
Yeah.
So our next item is from Euronews, and we have a picture of Belém, which is a city it doesn't look like it's in the Amazon, but it is.
Yeah, so the headline here is countries commit to tackling climate disinformation at UN Climate Summit.
Yeah, who do you suppose they're targeting for disinformation? Climate disinformation and information integrity are on the agenda at the UN Climate Summit for the first time this year. Brazilian President Lula da Silva opened COP30 in the Amazonian city of Belém with a call for world leaders to defeat climate deniers. Anybody come to mind there?
Perhaps our
Perhaps.
president.
Yeah, maybe. Who
Perhaps our
knows?
president. And this is really important. This is my issue all the time, is misinformation, disinformation.
Yeah.
Not giving people the information that will help them to live their lives in a way that they can manage.
It's been around for a long time. I remember visiting the home of a friend of mine in New Jersey, and this was just shortly after, I mean, maybe a year after, I figured out that there were important people in Washington, D.C. who were actively trying to suppress information about climate change. And I had always been a Republican, and went to this get-together that he had. It was basically it was half a dozen guys, maybe 10 guys, I don't know. But they were getting together to play poker. And before that all happened, I didn't play poker, I watched, and kept my mouth shut. But before that happened, we got into a discussion, and I said the words carbon footprint. And one of these guys looked at me and he said, "Do you mean you actually believe in climate change?" And I was stunned, because it was clear that he had not thought about it.
Yeah.
And we have been going for over 20 years since that time. And a lot of people in Washington, D.C., and honestly, I think a lot of them have been paid to take these positions.
Yeah.
They've guided the United States into a position where the rest of the world has created a market, and the United States is not in it. And how can you make America great again by ignoring the world market? I don't know. But I felt like saying at that time, maybe I did say, I don't remember, but you're gonna, if you take that position, you're going to exclude yourself from the biggest business opportunity that has ever happened.
Agreed. Yes.
Anyway, should we go on?
Chaos. Yes, let's go on.
Okay. Here is a small modular reactor, and I had in the notes, in the thing that was circulated to people, so if the people get the thing for this show from that tiny URL place, it says small modular reactor plant rendered in really bad perspective.
Yes, it's really bad. Yes, that's what it says. Yes. This is from the BBC.
Yes.
And UK's first small nuclear power station to be built in North Wales.
I love this story. I love this story because it shows how completely fake nuclear energy is. A first of its kind nuclear power station is to be built on Anglesey, which is also called Ynys Mona, that's in Welsh, at a cost of billions of pounds, which is to say billions and billions of dollars. The plant at Wolva will have, WYLFA is Wolva, will have the UK's first 3 small modular reactors. Work is due to start next year with the aim of generating electric power by the mid-2030s. If we haven't dealt with climate change by the mid-2030s, we might as well hang it up. You know, I mean, this is,
yes.
Nuclear power is not helping us deal with climate change. And this is the first of, hopefully, at most 2 of these reactors. As far as I know, none of them has actually gone into operation.
Right.
I think there's one in China that might or might not be, but you know, what the Chinese call something and what it is are not necessarily the same thing. One of those nuclear reactors that they were going to have by the 4th of July next year is apparently almost fully operational now, believe it or not. But they're like 1 megawatt reactors. They're not commercial reactors. So
That's where the misinformation and the
well,
disinformation
it
comes
is.
in. Exactly.
You're talking about it reminds me a little bit of the Ford designed nuclear car. And if you go into Wikipedia, you can find a picture of this car that had a nuclear reactor in the back. And you know, nobody ever has and this is true, by the way. Nobody has ever had an automobile accident while he or she was driving a nuclear car.
That's true. Because we haven't driven nuclear cars. That's why.
That is about as terrible an idea as you can get. Yeah. Okay. And I want to mention something about laughing, by the way. You know, last time I said we laugh.
Yes.
Okay. It is important that we keep a sense of humor.
Yes.
It really is. If you get into dismay, you're not gonna solve the problem.
No, you're going to just go further down,
Yeah.
and you're not going to have the ability to take in information.
Yeah. And some of the stuff is stunning. I came across one thing today. Nobody had ever actually formally presented this. Dirt draws down carbon in huge quantities.
Great.
And this has just not been presented. You know, I surprise people by saying peat bogs draw down carbon, and people are, whoa, 15 times as much per acre as a forest, and you can start a peat bog going, and it'll be going by this time, by the middle of next summer.
Okay, so it's a little bit faster than nuclear.
It's a little bit faster than nuclear, and it's a lot faster than a forest. But dirt? Yeah, that's a good idea. One thing, if you're going to do it with dirt, is don't try to do it with glyphosate, because you'll kill everything in the soil except the corn you're trying to grow.
Okay.
Oh, man. Okay. Did we deal with this one?
Yes, we did.
Okay, agrivoltaics.
Yeah. Okay.
And a tractor.
Yeah. So
we're up to Friday, November 14th, by the way.
Yeah. So this is from Clean Technica.
Yes.
U.S. president caught napping by U.S. solar industry.
Don't you love it?
I do.
U.S. President Donald Trump's war on the U.S. solar industry is going sideways. And so it may for a while. A report from Deloitte outlines how the domestic solar industry can survive, recover, and persist long after President Trump leaves office in 2029, if he stays in office that long, which I'm beginning to think he won't. We can hope that will be peaceful. I don't understand how people can accept some of the things that he says without doing an Article 25 on him.
Yeah, this is the hope thing. That's hard for me here. We hope that will be peaceful. I don't know that will be peaceful. The last time was really not peaceful. If you recall, the last time he was leaving office, not peaceful. So I don't necessarily believe that it'll be peaceful, but you know, that's my own.
I think his
personal.
energy is running out. I mean, you know about the vote that we had on the Epstein files. Mm-hmm. It was something 400 and some odd to 1 in the House and unanimous in the Senate, and then he signed it into law.
Yep.
Now all he's got to do is convince Pam Bondi that she should say, yeah, we can release those, even though we have just started some investigations to see what Bill Clinton's presence was in them.
Right. And Trump's.
No, we aren't going to look into Trump's because
No.
he signed it into law.
Right.
He's not afraid of anything.
Ah, okay. All right. That's good information.
All right. So we're on to a picture of a cement plant.
Yeah. Well, this is from Euronews.
Yeah.
And the headline here is World has virtually exhausted its carbon budget.
Yeah, and this is something to pay attention to. Fossil fuel emissions are set to reach a record high in 2025. They should be dropping. They're still not dropping. Now, that doesn't mean all hope is lost. According to the annual global carbon budget report, it warns that the remaining carbon budget, it's hard to read this, to keep global warming under 1.5 degrees Celsius is now, quote, virtually exhausted, end quote, and keeping the global warming to that limit is, quote, no longer possible, end quote. And you know, if you had asked me a year ago whether it would be possible to keep to 1.5 degrees, I think I would have said, what are you talking about? Of course not. You know?
Yeah.
But we have to be realistic. And this is, in a sense, it's news. In another sense, it isn't, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, my comment here is we need to stop making it so much worse. Climate is in emergency mode. This is serious.
Yes, that's right. And the people in the United States are acting like it's, you know, go to the ballpark, eat hot dogs, and it's business as usual aside from that.
I'll tell you one story of New York and COVID, which is that when our mayor said, go and support your small businesses and go in there, even though there's this thing that's killing other New Yorkers, go into those stores, keep going in. And then also the same time saying how unsafe it was. So, you know, that's what this reminds me of. We're just, yeah.
I've read reports on COVID, by the way, that talked about how the UK and Sweden compare.
Oh, our TV did that thing. Now
yes,
it's back.
Well,
it's
that
back.
happens every once in a while.
Yeah.
Not everything is perfect here. If you want to make BCTV better, just give us scads of money. By us, I mean BCTV.
Yes.
There it is. Again.
Yes, there we go. Yes, exactly. Yes.
The UK had a COVID problem that was, in terms of the number of people who died per million population, was 50% worse than Sweden, where people did not wear masks, did not avoid restaurants, and on and on.
Yeah, but we're talking about a city of millions of people. It's just totally different in terms of like the amount of ability, like the rate of which you will get people sick just because of the physicality of it being a crowded city. So.
Okay, we're up to Saturday, November 15th, and I left the R off November somehow, and I've gone too far there.
This is from Clean Technica.
Sorry, that we're not up to that.
We're not?
We're still on Friday.
Yes.
We have a picture of Reykjavik.
Yeah, and this is Iceland warns slower amok is a security threat to the nation.
AMOC is the Arctic Meridional Overturning Circulation. And I had to look up meridional and figure out why it's called that. Meridional refers to north-south. And the reason it's called that is because the big thing is from tropical regions, specifically in the Caribbean, to Northern Europe, which is a northern route, and then it sinks and it goes south. So the big thing here is north and south. And by the way, it's huge. The Iceland Review reported that the government of Iceland has declared the slowing or collapse of the AMOC to be a security threat to the country and has added the potential failure of that ocean current to the agenda of the country's National Security Council.
100% correct. And this is national security. This is the biggest security threat to a nation.
Yes. Yeah. Aside from being invaded by Russia.
Right. Which we'll talk about later as also being terrible for the environment. So
yes,
just
absolutely.
adding
There's
to
no
the
question.
problem.
And I should probably
move this thing so that we stop.
Let me get away from that. I might be bumping it or something. Okay, we're up to Saturday, November 15th.
Yeah.
And we have a picture of rice paddies.
Oh, yes.
These are flooded rice paddies, but they are flooded normally. This is a normal flood in the rice paddies.
Yeah, so this is from ABC News. Extreme flooding led to concerning decrease in rice fields.
Extreme flooding has led to a significant reduction in one of the world's most important food staples, a paper that appeared in Science Advances found. Devastating floods in Asia and nearby regions between 1980 and 2015 has caused rice yields to decrease by 4.3% annually. It doesn't say so in the paper, at least in the article that I read, and I tried finding out, but I think that's 4.3% compounded. This is not a one-time 4.3%, it's compounded, which means we've got a big reduction here.
Yeah, so my comment here is food, economy, not just about ecological or green.
Yes.
Literally, this is a food staple. Do you want actual bread lines? Because this is that.
Yes. By the way, what they're talking about is extreme flooding. And extreme flooding that damages the rice is flooding in which here you can see the plants growing actually in all of it.
Yeah.
In extreme flooding, the entire plant is underwater for at least a week, and the plant won't recover from that.
Yeah.
So that's what that is. Okay, we have a picture of a pipeline waiting to be laid. This is obviously an old picture for the Keystone pipeline. This is not the Keystone XL. It is Keystone, which is a related pipeline that's...
Yeah, well, so this is from ABC News. Preliminary findings show fatigue crack caused Keystone pipeline oil spill.
A fatigue crack in the Keystone pipeline led to an oil spill in North Dakota this year that released thousands of barrels of oil onto farmland, according to the pipeline operator South Bow. Mechanical and metallurgical analysis found the pipe and welds met industry standards. And I think that's important because it means even if you meet industry standards, that doesn't mean that you're not going to have fatigue cracks that cause oil spills. What's the easiest way to stop this kind of oil spill?
There's a few things. One,
yes,
is my comment, which is this sounds like industry standards need updating.
I would say that may be the case. But the easiest way to do this, in my opinion, is
stop
burning oil.
Stop burning oil.
Yeah.
Also, industry standards need updating because clearly, I know a little bit about how these standards are created, yes, and they're just almost random. It is not as anyway. That's my feeling.
When you're talking about that, it reminds me of Amish cheese in Pennsylvania. It used to be that the Amish made Schmierkäse in Pennsylvania, and you could buy it. You can't anymore because they don't make it anymore. And the reason they don't make it in Pennsylvania is because Pennsylvania has a law that says you cannot sell cheese that is made from unpasteurized milk.
Yeah.
Now, Schmierkäse, beautiful stuff. You curdle the milk, very much like making cottage cheese, and then you take this cottage cheese and you heat it up with bicarbonate of soda and you stir it for half an hour until the temperature gets up to about 180 degrees. I got news for you. That is super pasteurized. But because it's not pasteurized milk, it's not legal to sell.
Yep. Yep.
And why did that happen? It's because 2 people, something like that, in New Mexico died after eating queso blanco, which is prepared in much the same way in New Mexico. And it's like grab something out of the air and label it and then send it to the lawmakers and see what they turn it into.
Yeah. So many issues. This makes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Our next item is has a factory, Toyota factory. I think that's probably a rendering, not an original.
Yeah.
Not a photograph, rather.
So this is from Clean Technica. Toyota commissions new battery factory and pledges $10 million investment in U.S.
Billion. Yes.
Billion.
$10 billion. Toyota has announced the start of production at its new battery plant in Liberty, North Carolina. It is Toyota's 11th U.S. plant and the company's first battery plant outside Japan. The facility cost $14 billion and will create up to 5,100 American jobs. Now, the thing that I find most interesting about this is that clearly they expect to sell electric vehicle batteries in the United States, despite the policies of the Trump administration.
Because they don't think that after that maybe he'll leave office, and after he leaves office, there will be an appetite, a huge appetite for this.
Yeah.
Enormous.
And
huge.
Yeah. Okay, we're up to Sunday, November 16th.
Yeah.
And we have a picture of vertical photovoltaic panels at a plant in Bavaria.
Yeah, so this is from the cool down.
Yes.
Apple signs game-changing agreements in pursuit of ambitious goal. Here's what it means for customers.
Apple is investing more in solar energy. The company made a series of investments in at least 6 European countries, totaling 650 megawatts. That's a fair amount of electric generating capacity. It announced them on international websites, but it did not talk about them in the U.S. press site. Why do you suppose that is?
The president wouldn't like it.
Okay.
Yeah, that might be.
It might be. It very easily could be. And it's sad that we have to be in this age of playing games.
Yes, being indirect instead of just getting it done.
Yes. And if the issue here were just money and that's all, we would be doing exactly that, switching to solar and wind and batteries, because they're so cheap. And fossil fuels and nuclear are so expensive.
Yeah.
But you throw in the climate material, solar, wind, and batteries. You say, I'm going to sign on the dotted line. 18 months later, you've got your solar farm, your wind farm, and your battery facility. And if you waited around for nuclear to be done, it would be 10 years from now, according to the nuclear industry, which actually means maybe 20 years from now.
Right, and what temperature we're going to be at when we get to that point?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But it's clear to me that nuclear power, it could be clean, it could not be clean. You can argue that until you're blue in the face. But the fact is, it's not going to do any good.
Yeah.
Because it can't get online fast enough.
No.
The fact that it produces waste and the ways to deal with that have been promised forever.
But nobody knows how to deal with it. They just don't know. And they keep saying that they do, but they don't.
Yeah. And there's one waste plant that is under construction in Finland.
Yeah.
And
true.
Will it work? We don't have any reason to believe that it will, except that it was engineered to work. And engineers, of course, never make mistakes.
No.
Okay. We have a building for COP30. There it is.
Yes.
In the Amazon.
Oh, yes. So here, this is from Euronews. Climate leaders are talking about overshoot into warming danger zone. Here's what it means.
Yeah. And here we are. This is where we are. We're at 1.5 degrees Celsius. World climate leaders are conceding that Earth's warming will shoot past 1.5 degrees Celsius mark, but they're not conceding defeat. I think, Nancy, you and I should teach them how to laugh again.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
In the past few weeks, they started talking about limiting the time and magnitude of Earth's stay in the danger zone. I'm glad they did that. I've been waiting for somebody to do that for years. So they admit that we're going to go a little bit past 1.5, hopefully just a little. Maybe we'll stop it before it gets to 2 degrees, but what we've got to do is turn that around and turn it into something. And honestly, I think that can be done. And it can be done, you know, this thing that I talked about with dirt, bringing down the carbon out of the air, that's important. And we haven't got, military's not in anybody's carbon models. Dirt isn't in them either. And neither, for that matter, is, for the most part, bog wetlands and stuff like that. We've got a lot of science that we've got to cover. It's there. If we can use it, we can get this stuff reversed. Yes. So I thumb my nose at
it's people. Decision making. It's just, it's like you have a...
Well, you have to learn about it too. And if you have never heard of it, you've got to learn about it.
Yeah, I don't know that no one's ever heard of it.
People who watch this show have heard of it.
Yes, they have. They have.
Okay.
Yes.
Should we go on?
Yeah, let's go on.
This is a picture which is said to be a sodium-ion battery system. Said to be. I don't know that it's a sodium-ion battery system, but, you know.
That's what the Pacific Northwest National Laboratory has to say. This is from Clean Technica.
Yes, it is.
Coal-killing sodium-ion energy storage is coming.
Coal-killing.
Coal-killing.
Yeah. Like zombies rising from the grave to devour the living, old coal power plants have begun to shake off the dust, adding to the burden of skyrocketing electricity costs. By the way, the Department of Energy today announced that it's loaning at a low rate $1 billion to keep coal plants in West Virginia going.
Right, yes.
For an extra 20 years.
Okay. Cool.
Not to worry. They won't last long. Sodium-ion batteries and other economical energy storage are on the way. Yeah, I mean...
It's here. It's not even on the way. It's here. We have it.
Well, the sodium-ion batteries are kind of on the way.
Okay.
But
other things are here.
Other things are here. And loaning $1 billion to keep 6 coal-burning power plants in West Virginia going is like having a stranded asset fund where you put money in.
Can the president just give me money? Like, because that's, that's what it feels. That's just a random, hey, here's a bunch of money. Let me throw some money at you. Okay, here, let me throw this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, the Trump administration is all about saving money for the taxpayers. What are you trying to...
They're not saving, no.
No, we're up to Monday, November 17th. And here is my favorite photo of the day. I think that's just a lovely photo. It's just beautiful.
I mean, this is definitely my favorite story in the positive realm. And so this is from Euronews. Zanzibar's solar mamas are trained as technicians to help light up communities.
Yeah, about half of the homes in Zanzibar have no electricity. Barefoot College International, that is the name of an organization. A global nonprofit runs a program that trains, quote, solar mamas, end quote, to bring light to rural people while it provides jobs for local women. So far, it has lit up 1,845 homes.
Honestly, I just clap. Like,
It's great. I'll clap with you.
Bringing light. Bringing light.
And what they do is they take a woman who is not chosen because she passed some test or something like that. She's chosen for her position in the community and things like that. And they train her on how to install and maintain a solar system that includes solar panels and batteries. And then they send her back to her community with all the
knowledge,
not just the knowledge, but all of the material that she needs to put up 50 home solar systems. Stunning. And that doesn't say that when she runs through 50 systems, she can't get more.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is really, I love this story.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah. Okay. Our next story is about atmospheric rivers.
Yeah. So this is from ABC News. Lingering thunderstorms bring flooding risk to California.
All right. That picture shows an atmospheric river hitting Southern California. You can see the map outline of California and Nevada and Oregon and Idaho and so forth on the right. And that thing is an atmospheric system that just keeps bringing water to the shoreline in the same place day after day after day. And you can get huge amounts of rain out of a thing like this. You don't want too many of them. But they're called atmospheric rivers because they flow like rivers. A powerful atmospheric river had mostly moved through California after causing at least 6 deaths and dousing much of the state, but in areas of Los Angeles County that were recently ravaged by wildfire, lingering thunderstorms brought the risk of mudslides. So when you have a fire, it means that there's nothing in the soil to hold it together because the plants are dead.
Yeah.
And there's nothing in the soil that will absorb things quickly. And so the water runs off quickly, but it will also create mudslides. So there's a lot of things in nature. I was very interested in material called gorse, which is one of the books that I wrote is about people living in a town in western Nebraska called gorse. And gorse is a plant. It's a legume. And it has when spring comes, it produces a yellow flower and it stays in bloom until late fall. And it grows in big patches, and it is extremely easily set on fire. And when the fire burns, the plants just burn.
Yeah.
They burn down everything around them. But in this particular plant, the roots stay alive and they put up new plants. And it's a way that these gorse things can keep their competition for the land at bay. And you know, I likened gorse to a plant phoenix. It's like the phoenix that burns and then the young comes out of the ashes. That's what gorse does. Except in the case of gorse, it actually does it.
Yeah.
But these fires in California Maybe they should plant gorse out there.
Well, this is the thing. The thing about when you have so much destruction in an area. I mean, you're just talking about if you're ravaged by this, then you're ravaged by that. I mean, the land is just not in a good shape after all of this torrent, basically. Like,
this is something that's natural in California to an extent, but not the way it has been in the last.
Right.
As soon as you get human beings in there.
Yes. That's what I said on one of the earlier shows. Once you get human beings involved, the environment starts to get bad.
Yes. Okay. This was a great story. I really loved it. That's a picture of the Montana State Capitol building.
Yeah. So this is from Clean Technica.
Yes.
And it's pretty exciting news. Montana plans to override the Citizens United decision.
Yes. According to Truth Out, Montana is about to become the first state to oppose the 2010 Citizens United Supreme Court decision using a 2026 ballot initiative. In other words, they're putting this on the ballot so people can say, we don't like this, we want to stop it. They're the first state to do that. It's not going to have, as far as I know, any legal effect, but it shows that people want this.
And the other thing, and also Montana is a place where they have had these young folks suing the government.
Yes, that's right. And they won because the Montana state constitution says that the state has a responsibility to deal with the environment correctly. This is an innovative legal maneuver that could be adopted by other states as well. In a recent poll, here is Montana, a red state. 74% of the voters supported this idea. Mm-hmm. Now,
people care when you have outside that you like, that is pretty and nice. People want to keep that.
Yes.
They're motivated.
I want to point out that one of the presidents, a couple of presidents, have been very, very much pro-environment and have left a mark there. One of them was Theodore Roosevelt.
Yeah, of course.
Another was Richard Nixon. And Richard Nixon almost did it against his will. But there are reasons why conservatives favor environmentalism when they are allowed to. And conservatives don't like the federal government pushing them around. And that, I think, is what is one of the things on the minds of the people in Montana. They probably were a little upset at Joe Biden because of some of the things that he did that they regarded as somewhat pushing them around. But at least the stuff that he did
was helpful.
It gave them abilities that they had not had before to get health insurance. But here, we've got things being closed down and a movement to get coal mines open and things like that. They don't need coal mines in Montana. They've got so much land that they could use for along with farming. They can use the land for two purposes simultaneously.
Agrivoltaic.
And a combination of wind and farming, which is so obvious that nobody ever made a name for it, as far as I know. Okay, we are up to Tuesday, November 18th.
This is my other favorite story,
Yeah.
but on the other end.
Yes.
So this is from Euronews. War is one of the world's top polluters. Is it time EU militaries disclose their emissions?
Oh, man. A 2022 study by two global organizations estimates that the militaries are responsible for about 5.5% of global greenhouse gas emissions, with armed conflicts emitting more carbon dioxide than most countries. But military emissions largely don't get reported at all.
Not at all. Not at all. It is not included in any of our numbers. This has been my issue that I have talked about so many times because that is utterly ridiculous when you have all these companies talking about carbon offset, carbon this, blah, 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 and then the military has so much destruction. It's not just destroying climate, obviously it's destroying people's lives, it's destroying food, it's destroying property, it's destroying all sorts of things, but it has a huge impact. Just look at this tank. That's got an impact on the environment for those people, how they have to deal. How do they breathe?
That tank
health impacts.
is powered by either diesel oil or gasoline, and it's almost certainly powered by diesel oil because gasoline burns too easily.
So I would say EU, sure, but US, that would, to me, that would be the game changer if the US was required to give out what the emissions are of our wars. Our dirty wars, our all sorts of wars that we have waged for such a long time.
I saw a report today about the amount of carbon emissions that had taken place in the Ukraine-Russia conflict. And they were huge, just huge. And of course, you look at buildings, and the Russians have been targeting apartment buildings in a manner that I think really is a crime against humanity.
Yes.
But they've been targeting the apartment buildings, and the apartment buildings have been burning down. And when you light a building, and it, you know, with the ordinance that they have, and it burns down, that does far more damage. It reminds me a little bit about climate terrorists who set UVs on fire or something like that in a place out west, and somebody calculated that the fire, the vehicles that burned produced so much smoke that they were far more dangerous to the environment because the vehicles burned than they would have if they were just allowed to produce. That isn't to say that they should allow them to burn fuel. What I'm saying is you shouldn't burn the vehicles.
Yeah, volatility is volatility, and this is the most, to me, this is the most important thing because this is killing the globe. Yeah, and this war is these wars are killing the globe, and anyway, I could just talk forever on this issue. It's just,
you know, when I think of the Second World War, the amount of stuff that was destroyed was almost impossible to imagine.
I mean, just thinking about if I can just deconstruct even a way that we made our nuclear weapons, like my film, like if I just deconstruct that, that's all of that war environment, the making of weapons is part of the problem too, is the emissions of all of those making.
I met a man who was working on the Manhattan Project, and he was in the room where they tickled the tail of the dragon or whatever it was. They had a damper that was on a plutonium core, and they were fooling around, and the core started to overheat, which meant that it was on its way. And one of the people in the room died, and the rest of them all had radiation poisoning.
Yeah.
And he had, but you know, that's the amount of damage. How much damage was done by above ground nuclear testing? We don't have a report on that as far as I know. Maybe somebody's figured it out, but I don't know.
The people who were hurt have not been generally...
okay. When I was young, I worked at U.S. Radium.
Yeah.
U.S. Radium was the company that had the Radium Girls.
Yep.
Now, between the time when that happened and the time I was working there, the company had been reorganized and they had stopped using radium at all. But I knew guys who had been involved in that. This was something that was a big issue, you know, about the damage. I don't know how many people died from radiation poisoning because girls were licking
Yep.
paintbrushes under a sign that said, don't lick the brushes. But it was not like somebody was looking at them and saying, you're licking the brush, don't do that. And in fact, what they should have done was not had girls painting them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dials.
Yep.
Okay, let's go on.
Let's go on.
We have an item with a floating solar power plant.
Yeah. So this is from Clean Technica.
This plant is tiny compared to the one that we're talking about in the story.
Yeah. So this is Texas-sized 391 megawatt floating solar power plant is coming to Texas, of course.
Well, Texas-sized here means this is big like everything in Texas.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't mean that it's the size of Texas.
No, not the size of Texas.
There they go again. Texas has become a pace setter for the domestic renewable energy transition, and that includes the emerging field of floating solar farms. Suddenly, the state is on track to host a 391 megawatt floating solar power plant, far bigger than anything like it in the United States. Now, this is 391 megawatts. The power plant that is at the old Brattleboro landfill is 5. And that was the largest solar power plant in Vermont at one time. But this thing is 391. So, it's huge by comparison. Okay, our next item. I saw that picture and I thought, what is the picture of the Connecticut River doing in here? I thought that was Wentastic on the Connecticut River, and we were looking from the bridge.
All right, I know, right?
It does look a little bit like it.
This is from ABC News.
Yes.
EPA moves to limit scope of clean water law to reduce amount of wetlands it covers.
This is crazy. EPA announced it is redefining the scope of the nation's bedrock clean water law to limit the wetlands it covers. And I think this law was signed originally by Richard Nixon. I don't know. Building on a decision 2 years ago by the Supreme Court that removed federal protections for significant areas. We're going to have to undo this.
Yes.
Like everything else.
Yep, like everything else.
Going to have to go on. We're up to Wednesday, November 19th.
Yep.
You have a picture of a BYD truck made in China by BYD, a Chinese company that uses an acronym that stands for Build Your Dreams.
Yeah, this article is from ABC News. China's diesel trucks are shifting to electric.
China is transitioning from diesel trucks to electric faster than expected, potentially reshaping global fuel demand and the future of heavy transport. In 2020, nearly all new trucks in China ran on diesel oil. By the first half of 2025, battery-powered trucks accounted for 22% of new heavy truck sales. Now, these are heavy trucks, which means this is like the thing in the picture, but it means tractors in tractor trailers and stuff like that. Things that are moving stuff around. This means large waste management trucks. It means fire engines and stuff like that, big fire engines. So,
and that's that 22%. That's a high number.
It's a high number,
very high
and
number.
It's just going to go up.
Yeah,
because that's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Here is an interesting article, which I don't know how I feel about it.
So this is from ABC News. Final resting place of historic SS United States to become artificial reef by Florida.
That ship is going to become an artificial reef.
Yes.
Now, I want to tell you, all of the stuff in it, all the furniture, all of the chandeliers and the doorknobs and whatever else is in there was taken out, I think, almost 40 years ago.
I see.
So this ship is basically a steel hull. The engines don't work. I don't know that it even has engines in it. The historic SS United States will be the world's largest artificial reef after it sunk off Florida's Gulf Coast early next year. Okaloosa County officials announced that they expect to sink the ship in early 2026, about 22 nautical miles southwest of Destin. I have no idea where Destin is, but it's on the Gulf coast of Florida.
Yeah, this is weird. This is a weird one. Sink a ship.
For a reef.
For a reef.
Yeah. It's been done before. Battleships have been sunk for reefs. And I don't know that this thing is the biggest ship to be sunk for a reef. It might be because those ocean liners tend to be bigger than battleships. But yeah, they sunk battleships during the Second World War off the coast of Normandy to cut down wave action. And it's a good thing they did because things got bad after that. Mm-hmm. Okay, we have one
talk about
more.
War pollution.
What?
So talk about war pollution.
Yeah.
Yep.
We have one more item. This is a picture of the airport in Singapore.
Yeah. So this is from Euronews. Singapore reveals first green fuel tax on flights.
Singapore is set to become the first country to charge a green fuel tax. The Civil Aviation Authority of Singapore confirmed its sustainable aviation fuel levy for passengers leaving the country. This is not for passengers coming in. So if you want to move there and stay, you're all set.
Huh.
Well, the tax is not all that big either. The amount of the tax is based on the distance to the initial destination. So if you're going to Europe, but you have a stopover in India, you pay to go to India. But the amount is not all that bad. It's like $9 to $20 for a ticket. But they are taxing to support green aviation. And I think that's going to be hard to do in the long run because aviation is not easy to make green.
Yes, that's true. That's very true.
So we have one more slide, which tells everybody to have a magnificently enjoyable week.
Yes. Have that. Have that magnificently enjoyable week.
Yes, absolutely. Okay.
All right.
We'll wave goodbye. I hope you come back next time.
Yeah.
Next time, by the way, I have to talk with you about this.
Shall I finish end the show?
No, it's okay. It kind of shows the difficulties that we sometimes have. Next time, Thursday, Thanksgiving.
Oh, yes, that's right.
So I have told Helena that we could record the show on Wednesday instead. Now, I will do it if you don't want to be here for whatever reason. But if you want to be here, I think that's just grand.
That sounds great.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
And I hope everybody stops in to see that too, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.